Peter, I'm going to come back to something that you mentioned earlier in the conversation, and it's something we covered a couple of weeks ago. It's about HR, really, and the different skills that might be required. Actually, in our conversation a couple of weeks ago, you said all this stuff scares the living daylights out of HR, which I thought was a great phrase. Is that about mindset or capabilities, or a bit of both? And how can HR step up? How has HR stepped up in some of the organisations that you mentioned, for example?
I think it's both mindset and I think competences and skills. But I love doing conferences, where there are HR people in the room, because I have the same feeling as I had when I was talking to marketing audiences 10 years ago. But it's really, you often feel when you talk about these things, it's deer staring into the headlights of the oncoming car. And I think there's a sense of frustration with many of the HR or organizations that I meet, because they fear that they don't have the type of skills inside the organization to really tackle and deal with that. Technology is something which is still, I think, weak in many HR organizations, but it's also the mindset of trying things and experimenting and just, you know what, we don't know what the definitive new HR will be like. And we can't wait until the final HBR article is out. We're going to have to try this. And I think getting that mindset of experimentation going, and in a way, this is a perfect example now. I mean, we're in the middle of the whole Corona hype, where the whole world is going into a lockdown situation. But then you see that the potential of working remote and using new techniques of whether it's conferencing or different types of realities or mixed realities, but there are so many opportunities to redefine work. And in the last 10 years, when you talk about the future of work, many HR organizations would think about how they would rearrange the furniture.
Yeah. But
that's not the thing. It's not, open space or not. No, it's about fundamentally rethinking what is the fluidity of organizations. And in a way, this biological disruption is a great test. But how many HR departments take that and say, I'm going to do something with this. I'm going to change how we experiment. And I take the analogy with marketing 10 years ago. Digital happened, and an online consumer became a thing. And what happened is the IT department was actually not ready. It was the marketing department who took that, and then you had a lot of the IT people saying, it's not fair. I mean, you see marketing departments having more technology budget than we. And I think I always joke that the worst job to have in the boardroom the last 10 years was the IT manager, because the world was talking about self-driving cars, and you would ask the CIO, what are you doing? I'm upgrading SharePoint. Well, that was not a good position to be in. But the marketeers seized that, and as a result, they understand technology now. The same thing is now happening in the world of HR. There are so many reasons to act. And I don't think HR should just sit and wait and say, well, IT should figure it out. No, this is their opportunity to rise and shine. But it will be different skills and a different attitude. And I think if you have that, I wouldn't want HR to be the worst job in the boardroom, but they're going to have to take charge if they really want to leverage this opportunity.
I'm sure it's one of the most challenging jobs in the boardroom at the moment with the Corona crisis, as you mentioned. And it's almost HR needs to invest more at the top of the hourglass.
Yes.
More
absolutely.
Research, more experimentation, more analysis.
Wider lens, and also bring in the skills that they can understand and experiment with these opportunities. And it means that they're going to have to invest in people that are data scientists and that are technologists and that are people who are going to have a very creative way of thinking about new concepts. But I think we're not just in a shift where the employee has to go into the digital environment. This is about where we're going to see different types of organizational structures. We're going to see fluidity happening, and technology is going to help empower that. But it's not about tech enabling employees. It's about fundamentally rethinking what is the nature of work. And I think we're going to probably see a lot more fluidity and flexibility coming in, and that's going to be a huge change in the role of HR. And that transition is something where HR shouldn't be the operational partner. I think it should be the thought leader partner. It should be the challenger. It should be the person in the boardroom that everybody says, oh my God, HR is going to give a presentation. Wow, that's going to be really cool to listen to. Where in most cases, that is not the case today.
In this series, we will be speaking to a range of senior leaders who are pushing a data-driven and digital HR agenda. Make sure that you subscribe via your podcast app of choice and also via our YouTube channel for free and regular interviews with the digital HR leaders of the future.